This is part 5 of chapter number 12, Electricity of class 10th. In this part, we'll discuss NCERT in-text questions. There are few solved questions and few unsolved questions. So we are going to solve all these questions. We'll see the solutions of all these questions. Okay, let's revise what we have done in this chapter. All the formulas are written over here. The first topic was current. Current is defined as the charge flown per unit time. So I is equal to Q upon T. And the SI unit of current is ampere. Potential difference is defined as work done per unit charge. In order to move a unit charge from one point to the other in an electrical circuit, the work done per unit charge is called as the potential difference. And the SI unit of potential difference is volts. Then we studied about Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that between any 2 points in an electrical circuit, the potential difference is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. That is, V is directly proportional to I, provided the physical conditions like temperature, etc. should remain constant. So V is equal to R into I, where R is called as the resistance of the conductor. That is the opposition to the flow of charges, or you can say that it is the opposition to flow of current. So the graph between V and I is a straight line, and the slope of this graph will give you the resistance, provided V is taken along y-axis and I is taken along x-axis. Okay, then we have studied the factors on which the resistance depends. The resistance depends upon the length of the conductor. How it depends? Directly proportional to the length of the conductor. Inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area of the conductor. So R is inversely proportional to A. Also, the resistance depends upon the temperature of the conductor. With the rise in temperature, the resistance of the conductor increases. Okay, also it depends upon the nature of the material. That is, different substances, different materials, different resistances are there. So R is directly proportional to L upon A for a given conductor at a constant temperature. So for a given conductor at a constant temperature, resistance is directly proportional to the length and inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. On equating it, the constant of proportionality here is represented by rho, where rho is called as the specific resistance or the resistivity of the conductor. Rho is called as the specific resistance or the resistivity of the conductor. The unit of resistance is ohm, which is represented by this symbol, and the unit of resistivity is ohm into meter. Okay, then we studied about the series and parallel combination of resistances. In series combination, a number of resistors are connected one after the other, which we call it as the series combination. So the 3 points to remember are the current flowing through each resistor is the same. So the total potential difference across the combination is equal to the sum of the potential differences across each resistance. Hence the equivalent resistance, let us represent it by RS. So the equivalent resistance is equal to sum of the individual resistances. So the equivalent resistance RS will be greater than R1, R2 or R3. In parallel combination, the resistors are connected in this manner. Okay, so in parallel combination, the potential difference across each resistance is the same, whereas the total current is equal to the sum of the currents through individual resistances. That is, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3, so on. But the equivalent resistance is given by this formula, that is the reciprocal of the equivalent resistance, 1 upon Rp. Rp is the equivalent resistance, is equal to sum of the reciprocals of individual resistances. That is 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 and so on. So this Rp is less than the least resistance. So Rp is less than any of the individual resistances, that is R1, R2 or R3. Okay, then we studied about Joule's law of heating effect. Whenever the current passes through a conductor, it gets heated up. This effect is called as the Joule's law of heating effect, okay, which is used in many of the electrical appliances like in electric heater, electric geyser, etc. So the heat produced is equal to I square R into T. The heat produced is directly proportional to square of the current, is directly proportional to the resistance of the conductor, and also is directly proportional to the time for which it is flowing. This law is called as the Joule's law of heating effect. Okay, also from here, if we eliminate I, we get H is equal to V square upon R into T. So if V is constant, we'll use this formula. Okay. Or H is also equal to V into I into T. Then we studied about electrical power. Electrical power is the electrical work done per unit time, or you may say electrical energy consumed per unit time. The expression of electric power is equal to V into I, or it is equal to V square upon R, or it is equal to I square into R. So depending, if V is constant, we'll use this formula. Power is equal to V square upon R. If I is constant, we'll use this formula. H is equal to I square into R. Okay, then the commercial unit of electrical energy is kilowatt hour. Okay, the SI unit of electrical energy is joule, but the commercial unit of electrical energy is kilowatt hour, where 1 kilowatt hour can be converted into joules, okay, which is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to the power 6 joules. So kilowatt hour is the commercial unit and joule is the SI unit of electrical energy. On page 200, example 12.1, a current of 0.5 amperes is drawn by a filament of an electric bulb for 10 minutes. Time is given here as 10 minutes. Find the amount of electric charge. Here you have to find out the charge. We know that current flowing is equal to charge flown per unit time. So from here Q is equal to I into T. In order to get the charge in coulombs, current should be in amperes and the time should be in seconds. Current is already given in amperes, but here the time is given in minutes, which you have to convert it in seconds. 1 minute has got 60 seconds. So 10 minutes is equal to 600 seconds. Now substitute in this formula 0.5 into 600. So you get it 300 coulombs. So the charge is 300 coulombs. Okay, then on the same page, there are few unsolved questions. Question number 1 is, what does an electric circuit mean? An electric circuit is closed and continuous path of electric current. So closed and continuous path of electric current is called as electric circuit. Next is define the unit of current. The SI unit of current is ampere, but defining means here you have to define 1 ampere. 1 ampere is the electric current when 1 coulomb of charge flows for 1 second. Okay, current is equal to charge flown per unit time. If 1 coulomb of charge flows for 1 second, then we say that current is 1 ampere. Question number 3 is calculate the number of electrons constituting 1 coulomb of charge. Okay, we know that 1 electron has got a charge 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulombs. Okay, here you have to find out the number of electrons. Let n is the number of electrons when the charge is 1 coulomb. Okay, so here you have to find out the total number of electrons which constitutes 1 coulomb of charge by unitary method. Okay, or divide both the equations. N upon 1 is equal to 1 upon 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 coulomb. So n here is equal to 1 upon 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19. On simplifying it, you get approximately equal to 6 into 10 raised to the power 18 electrons. So the number of electrons which constitutes 1 coulomb of charge is equal to 6 into 10 raised to the power 18 electrons. On page 202, example 12.2, which is a solved question. It is given that how much work is done in moving a charge of 2 coulombs across 2 points having a potential difference of 12 volts. So here you have to determine the work done. We know that the potential difference is equal to work done per unit charge. Potential difference is work done per unit charge. So from here, work done is equal to potential difference into the charge, substituting the values 12 into 2, which is equal to 24 joules. So the work done is equal to 24 joules. There are few unsolved questions on the same page. The first question is, name the device that helps to maintain a potential difference across a conductor. Okay, so a device which is used to maintain the constant potential difference, that is for a flow of constant current. That device is a cell or a battery. cell or battery maintains the potential difference across the ends of the conductor so that a constant current can flow through that conductor. Question number 2 is, what is meant by potential difference between 2 points is 1 volt? Okay, so from the formula, we know that potential difference is equal to work done per unit charge. If the work done is equal to 1 joule, when 1 coulomb of charges move from one point to another, then the potential difference will be equal to 1 volt. Okay, so 1 volt is the potential difference when 1 coulomb of charge is moved from one point to another, so that 1 joule of work is done. Question number 3 is, how much energy is given to each coulomb of charge passing through a 6-volt battery? Okay, so here it is given that each coulomb means Q is equal to 1 coulomb, and the potential difference of the battery is given as 6 volts. And here you have to calculate the energy consumed or the electrical work done. We know that the electrical energy consumed is equal to electrical work done. So energy consumed is the electrical work done, and we know that electrical work done is equal to V into Q. So energy consumed is also equal to V into Q, that is 6 into 1 is equal to 6 joules. Hence the energy consumed is 6 joules. Then on page number 208, 209, again there are few solved questions plus few unsolved questions. Okay, example 12.3. How much current will an electric bulb draw from a 220 volt source? Okay, so V is given as 220 volts. How much current will it draw? That is, you have to find out I. If the resistance of the bulb filament is 1200 ohms. Okay, by using the Ohm's law, V is directly proportional to I, that is V is equal to R into I. We will get I is equal to V upon R. Substituting 220 upon 1200, okay, which is equal to 22 upon 120, which is equal to 0.18 amperes. So the current flowing through the bulb is 0.18 amperes. Okay, now the B part. This was the A part, and the B part is, how much current will an electric heater will draw from 220 volts source? Again, V is given as 220 volt. If the resistance of the heater is 100 ohms, now the resistance is given as 100 ohms. Again, here you have to find out the current. I is equal to V upon R, substituted 220 upon 100, which is equal to 2.2 amperes. Yes, so here you can see that which one is drawing more current. The electric heater draws more current. This is for an electric bulb, this is for an electric heater, both working on the same voltage source, 220 volts. Okay, so here we see that the current drawn by electric heater is 2.2 amperes, whereas by the bulb is 0.18 amperes. So the electric current drawn by the heater will be more. Okay, then example 12.4. The potential difference between the two terminals of an electric heater is 60 volts. Okay, so it is given that V is equal to 60 volts. It draws a current of 4 ampere. I is given here as 4 amperes. What current will the heater draw if the potential difference is increased to 120 volts? Okay, now the potential difference is increased to 120 volts. Here you have to find out the current. Okay, so the resistance of that conductor will remain constant. So we will find out the resistance will remain the same. Using these two values, we'll find out the resistance. R is equal to V upon I, that is 60 upon 4, which is equal to 15 ohms. Okay, now if the potential difference is increased to 120 volts, here you have to find out the current. Let the current is I dash. Here you have to determine I dash. Okay, so I dash is equal to V dash upon, the resistance will remain the same. V dash here is 120 and the resistance we have determined is 15 ohms. So this is equal to 8 amperes. So what will be the current now? It will be 8 amperes when the voltage source is increased to 120 volts. Now example 12.5. Resistance of a metal wire of length 1 meter is 26 ohms. So the resistance of length 1 meter is given to be 26 ohms at 20 degrees Celsius. If the diameter of the wire is 0.3 millimeter, what is the resistivity of that material at that particular temperature, that is at 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so here we have to find out the resistivity. Okay, we know that. How is resistivity related to length and area? R is equal to rho into L upon A. Hence, the resistivity is equal to resistance into the cross-sectional area upon length. Okay, now what will be the cross-sectional area of a wire? As we know that wire is cylindrical, so the cross-sectional area of a wire is circular. Okay, and the area of a circle is pi into r square, where r is the radius. So this is the formula which we have to use. Length is given, resistance is given, okay, but radius you can determine as the diameter is given. So what will be the radius? Radius will be equal to half of the diameter, that is 0.3 upon 2, that is 0.15 millimeter. Okay, now in order to get the resistivity in SI unit, which is ohm into meter, length should be in meter and the radius should be in meters. But here the radius is given in millimeters. So let us convert it in meter. 0.15 millimeter is equal to 0.15 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 meter. 0.15 upon 1000. That is, it can be written as 0.15 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 meter. Now you can substitute it over here. Resistance is 26. Pi, you can take it to be 3.14. Square of the radius, 0.15 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 square is 1 meter. Okay, on simplifying it, you get the answer to be 1.84 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 ohm into meter. So is the resistivity of the material of the conductor. Example 12.6 is a material having a length L and cross-sectional area A has a resistance 4 ohms. So given in the question that if the length is L, cross-sectional area is A, then the resistance is 4 ohms. So this R is equal to 4 ohms. Okay, now what would be the resistance of another wire of the same material having a length L by 2 and cross-sectional area 2A? Okay, now another wire of same material is taken, that is rho will remain the same. Same material means the resistivity will remain the same. Okay, length, the new length is half of the original length and the new cross-sectional area is double the cross-sectional area of the original one. That is A dash is twice of A. Now here you have to find out the resistance. Let the new resistance is R dash. R dash is equal to rho. Okay, here also it will be rho, here also it will be rho because the material is the same. L dash upon A dash. Okay, so when the length is L dash, a cross-sectional area is A dash, you have to find out this resistance. Okay, here given in the question that L dash is L upon 2 and A dash is twice of A. Okay, so this is equal to 1 upon 4 rho L upon A. So the new resistance R dash is 1 upon 4 rho L upon A. From here you see that rho L upon A is equal to 4 ohms. So 1 upon 4 into 4, it is equal to 1 ohm. And hence the new resistance will be 1 ohm when the length is half and the cross-sectional area is double of the same material wire. Okay, then there are few unsolved questions on page number 209. The first question is on what factors does the resistance of a conductor depend? Okay, resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor, inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. Okay, for a given conductor. Okay, but if the material of the conductor changes, then it depends upon the nature of the material also. Also, if the temperature changes, then also the resistance changes. So resistance depends upon length, cross-sectional area. Okay, also on the nature of the material, different materials, different resistances, and also it depends upon the temperature. Okay, if the temperature increases, the resistance of a conductor increases. Second is, will current flow more easily through a thick wire or a thin wire of the same material when connected to the same source? Why? We know that the resistance is inversely proportional to cross-sectional area. Okay, thicker the wire, less will be the resistance. Okay, more cross-sectional area, thicker wire means more cross-sectional area. More cross-sectional area, less will be the resistance. So more amount of current will flow. So current can easily flow through a thick wire. For a thick wire, cross-sectional area is more, resistance will be less. Resistance is less means more amount of current can flow. That is easily the current can flow. Then question number 3 is, let the resistance of an electrical component remains constant, while the potential difference across the two ends of the component decreases to half of its former value. Suppose initially the potential difference was V. Now the potential difference is reduced to V dash, which is equal to V by 2. What change in the current will you observe? What will be I dash? Resistance is constant. We know that resistance is equal to V upon I. Resistance is constant. So if we increase the potential difference, the current also increases by the same amount. If we decrease the potential difference, current also decreases by the same amount. So what will be the new current? I dash will be equal to half of the original current. That is, it will be equal to I by 2. V is directly proportional to I. So the resistance is V upon I. So resistance is constant. It means V increased, I also increases. V decreased, I also decreases by the same amount. So here the potential difference is made half to the former value. So the current will also reduce to half. Then question number 4 is, why are coils of an electric toaster and electric irons made up of an alloy rather than a pure metal? So the coils of electric heaters and electric toasters are made up of alloys. Why? Because the alloys have greater resistivity than its constituent metals. Also, alloys do not oxidize easily at very high temperature. Okay, the temperature will be very high. They do not burn at very high temperatures. Oxidize means they do not burn at very high temperature. Question number 5 is, use the data in table 12.2 to answer the following. Which among iron and mercury is a better conductor? Okay, see that table, which is given on page 207. From the table, the resistivity of iron is given as 10 into 10 raised to the power minus 8 ohm meter, whereas the resistivity of mercury is given as 94 into 10 raised to the power minus 8 ohm meter. How we define resistivity? It is the resistance of unit length and unit cross-sectional area. Okay, so as the resistivity of iron is less, its resistance will be less, and hence it is a better conductor. So which one is a better conductor? Iron is a better conductor as compared to mercury. Then B part is, which material is the best conductor? The one which is having the lowest resistivity will be a best conductor. See that table. Silver has got the lowest resistivity, which is 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 8 ohm into meter. So which one? Silver, as its resistivity is least, so it is the best conductor. This question is on page number 212, example 12.7. An electric lamp whose resistance is 20 ohms. Okay, this is an electric lamp whose resistance is 20 ohms and a conductor of 4 ohm resistor are connected to a 6 volt battery as shown in the figure. Okay, so a 4 ohm and a 20 ohm, these are connected to a 6 volt battery. Calculate A part, the total resistance of the circuit. As we can see here that 20 and 4 ohms, these two are connected in series. So the equivalent resistance in series is R1 plus R2, that is 20 plus 4, which is equal to 24 ohms. B part is the current through the circuit. You have to find out the current through the circuit. Okay, this I has to be determined. I is equal to V upon the total resistance of the circuit. So here I is equal to V upon the total resistance of the circuit is the equivalent resistance in series. So here V is 6 volt and the equivalent resistance is 24 ohm. So 1 upon 4 amperes. Okay, or it can be written as 0.25 amperes. Okay, C part is, you have to find out the potential difference across the electric lamp and the conductor. Okay, this is the conductor. Let the resistance of the conductor is 4 ohm. Okay, here you have to determine V1, that is the potential difference across the conductor. And also you have to determine the potential difference across the lamp. So V1 and V2 has to be determined. Okay, we know that V1 will be equal to I into R1, as these two are connected in series. So the current flowing through each of them will be the same. So current flowing through 4 ohm is also 0.25 amperes. The current flowing through 20 ohms is also 0.25 amperes. So the current is 0.25 amperes into the resistance of the conductor is 4. So hence it is equal to 1 volt. So the potential difference across the conductor is 1 volt. Now let's find out the potential difference across the lamp. V2 is equal to I into R2. Okay, current flowing through each of them is the same. So 0.25 into R2 here is 20 ohms. That is, it is equal to 5 volts. Okay, so here in the A part, you have to determine the total resistance of the circuit, which is 24 ohms. In the B part, you have to find out the current flowing through the circuit that is coming out of the battery. It is 0.25 amperes, the potential difference across the conductor and the potential difference across the lamp. Okay. Okay, you can check your answer also. V should be equal to V1 plus V2. Okay, this is V1, V2. V1 plus V2 is 6 volt, which is equal to the battery voltage, that is 6 volts. So this way you can check your answer also. Then there are few unsolved questions on page number 213. Question number 1 is, draw a schematic diagram consisting of a battery of 3 cells 2 volt each, a 5 ohm resistor, an 8 ohm resistor and a 12 ohm resistor and a plug key all connected in series. Only you have to draw the circuit diagram. Okay, 3 cells each of 2 volts connected in series. So each one has got 2 volt. So the total source voltage will be equal to 2 volt plus 2 volt plus 2 volt. That is, it is equal to 6 volts. Okay, so the total battery voltage will be equal to 6 volts. Okay, it is connected to 3 resistances. One is of 5 ohm. Okay, let this is R1, which is equal to 5 ohm. The second resistor is of 8 ohm. All 3 connected in series. So R2 is equal to 8 ohms. And there is one more resistor of 12 ohms. Let this is R3. R3 is equal to 12 ohms. And a plug key, all are connected in series. So there is a key. This is the symbol for a closed key. Okay, all connected in series. So this will be the conventional direction of the current. The direction of the current also here you have to show it in the circuit diagram. So these are the 3 resistances, 3 cells each of 2 volts connected in series and a key which are all are connected in series. Okay, this is the schematic diagram. Question number 2 is, redraw the circuit diagram of question number 1. The same circuit diagram we have to once again we have to draw it by putting an emitter to measure the current through the resistors. Here you have to connect one emitter and a voltmeter to measure the potential difference across 12 ohm resistor. Okay, so only the potential difference across this has to be measured. What would be the readings in the emitter and the voltmeter? So here you have to find out the current and the potential difference across the 12 ohm resistor. Okay, so emitter we know that is connected in series. Why it is connected in series? Because its resistance is very, very low. So it is always connected in series. Let us connect it here. Anywhere in between you can connect because the current flowing through each of the resistor is the same. So let us connect the emitter here. This will be the positive of the emitter. This will be the negative of the emitter. So this will measure the current I. So emitter measures the current I. So I has to be determined. And you have to find out the potential difference only across the 12 ohm resistor. We know that the potential difference is measured by voltmeter and voltmeter is always connected in parallel. So here you have to connect a voltmeter which is parallel to 12 ohm resistor. Okay, let this potential difference measured by the voltmeter is 12 volt. Okay, this is question number 2. So here this V3 and I has to be determined. Okay, so for determining I, let us find out the equivalent resistance. As you can see in the figure, all 3 resistances are connected in series. So the equivalent resistance is R1 plus R2 plus R3, that is 5 plus 8 plus 12, which is equal to 25 ohms. Okay, now here current we know that is equal to V upon the total resistance. The total battery voltage is given as 6 volts. So V upon the equivalent resistance, that is 6 upon 25. amperes. In decimals, it will be equal to 0.24 amperes. Now here you have to measure the voltmeter reading. Okay, voltmeter reading is measuring V3. So V3 is equal to I into R3. The current flowing through each of the resistor is same, that is 0.24 amperes. So 0.24 into R3 is 12 ohms. So on simplifying it, we get it to be 2.88 volts. So the voltmeter reads 2.88 volts and the ammeter reads 0.24 amperes. Then on page number 214 and 215, there are two solved examples. Example 12.8. In the circuit given in figure 12.10, suppose the resistance R1, R2 and R3 have the values 5, 10 and 30 respectively, which have been connected to a 12 volt battery. Okay, so in figure 12.10, all these three are connected in parallel. So let us draw the circuit diagram. R1, R2 and R3. All three are connected in parallel, where R1 here is given as 5 ohm, R2 is given as 10 ohms and R3 is given as 30 ohms. Okay, these are connected to a 12 volt battery. Okay, now here you have to find out the current through each resistor. That is I1, I2 and I3. Okay, this current will divide in three branches. Let the current through R1 is I1, let the current through R2 is I2 and the current through R3 is I3. Okay, so the current divides in three branches. Through R1, I1, through R2, I2, through R3, it is, let it be I3. Okay, so here you have to determine I1, I2 and I3. Okay, as they are connected in parallel, we know that the potential difference across each resistor will be the same and each one will get a potential difference of 12 volts. Okay, so I1 is equal to V upon R1. V, each one is getting a potential difference of 12 volt, 12 upon 5 amperes. Okay, which in decimals you can calculate, which is equal to 2.4 amperes. I2 here is equal to V upon R2. V is 12 volts and R2 is 10 ohms. So 12 upon 10 amperes, which can be written as 1.2 amperes. I3 is equal to V upon R3. That is 12 upon 30 amperes, which is equal to 0.4 amperes. Okay, so this is I1, this one is I2 and this one is I3. So the current through each of the branch we have calculated. Now in the B part, it is asked that find out the total current in the circuit. So this I has to be determined. Okay, we know that in parallel combination, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Okay, so here I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3, that is 2.4 plus 1.2 plus 0.4 amperes. So on simplifying it, you get it to be 4 amperes. So the total current in the circuit is 4 amperes. Okay, then the C part is, here you have to determine the total circuit resistance, the equivalent resistance. As they are connected in parallel, we know that 1 upon Rp is equal to, Rp is the equivalent resistance of the circuit, is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So 1 upon Rp is equal to, substituting the values, 1 upon 5 plus 1 upon 10 plus 1 upon 30. Taking the LCM on the right hand side, we get the LCM to be 30. So 1 upon Rp is 10 by 30. Okay, finding out the reciprocal from of both the sides. So Rp will be equal to 30 upon 10. That is, it is equal to 3 ohms. So the equivalent resistance is equal to 3 ohms for this circuit. The next example given on page number 215 is the figure as shown. Okay, now in the first part, you have to find out the total resistance of the circuit. That is, you have to find out the equivalent resistance of the circuit where there are 5 resistances connected in this manner. Okay, now whenever the current divides in the 2 branches, 2 or 3 branches, those resistances will consider to be connected in parallel. If the same current is flowing through the resistances, they will be connected in series. Like here you can see that the current is dividing in these 2 branches R1 and R2. The current flowing through R1 and R2 will be different. So R1 and R2 are connected in parallel. The same way the current through R3, R4 and R5 will be different. So these will be connected in parallel. Now the equivalent of R1 and R2 will be in series to the equivalent of R3, R4 and R5. Let's do it. Okay, so R1 and R2 are connected in parallel. Why? Because the current flowing is different through these 2 resistances. So let the equivalent of R1 and R2 is R dash. So 1 upon R dash is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. That is 1 upon 10 plus 1 by 40. 40 is the LCM. 5 by 40. Hence, R dash is equal to 40 upon 5, which is equal to 8 ohms. Okay, similarly, R3, R4 and R5 are also connected in parallel. Why? Because the current flowing through them is different. Let the equivalent of R3, R4 and R5 is R double dash. So 1 upon R double dash will be equal to 1 upon R3 plus 1 upon R4 plus 1 upon R5. Substituting the values, 1 by 30 plus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 60. Okay, taking the LCM, LCM is equal to 60. The numerator is 6. So 1 upon R double dash is 6 by 60. Hence, R double dash will be equal to 60 upon 6. That is, it is equal to 10 ohms. Okay, now here in place of R1 and R2, the equivalent resistance is R dash, and here R dash is equal to 8 ohm. Okay, now instead of R3, R4 and R5, we can draw only the equivalent resistance, which is R double dash, which is equal to 10 ohms. Now here in the figure, you can see that R dash and R double dash are connected in series. Why? Because the same current is flowing through R dash and through R double dash. Hence, the equivalent resistance of the circuit is R dash plus R double dash. That is, it is equal to 8 plus 10, 18 ohms. So the equivalent resistance of the circuit is equal to 18 ohms. Now the B part is find out the total current flowing in the circuit. So here you have to determine I. Okay, this current has to be determined. I is equal to V upon the total equivalent resistance, V upon equivalent resistance. Here the voltage source is given to be 12 and the equivalent resistance is 18. The current through the circuit is equal to 2 upon 3 amperes. Okay, or it can be written as 0.67 amperes. So this is the current through the circuit. Okay, few unsolved questions on page number 216. The first one is judge the equivalent resistance when the following are connected in parallel. In the first one, 1 ohm and 10 raised to the power 6 ohm. Okay, these are connected in parallel. We know that in case of parallel combination, the equivalent resistance is less than the least resistance. Okay, so it will be less than 1 ohm resistance. Okay, either you can write directly that the equivalent resistance is less than the least resistance, that is, it will be less than 1 ohm. Okay, or find out 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1, which is 1 upon 1 plus 1 upon 10 raised to the power 6 ohm. The LCM is 10 raised to the power 6. 10 raised to the power 6 plus 1, and hence Rp is equal to 10 raised to the power 6 upon 10 raised to the power 6 plus 1. Okay, 10 raised to the power 6 plus 1, that is 10 crore added to 1 is approximately equal to 10 crores only. Okay, is approximately equal to 10 raised to the power 6. So 10 raised to the power 6 upon, this is also approximately equal to 10 raised to the power 6 only. Okay, so 10 crores added to 1 is approximately equal to 10 crores only. So this is approximately equal to 1 ohm. So hence the equivalent resistance is nearly equal to 1 ohm only. B part is 1 ohm, 10 raised to the power 3 ohm, and 10 raised to the power 6 ohms are connected in parallel. Okay, so the equivalent resistance will be less than the least resistance, that is, it will be less than 1 ohm. Let us find out. 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1, 1 by 1, plus 1 upon 10 raised to the power 3 plus 1 upon 10 raised to the power 6. Okay, here the LCM is 10 raised to the power 6. Is 1 upon Rp. Okay, how much is this? 10 raised to the power 6 plus 10 raised to the power 3 plus 10 plus 1. Okay, that is 10 crores plus 1000 plus 1 is approximately equal to 10 raised to the power 6 only. 10 raised to the power 6 plus 10 raised to the power 3 plus 1 is approximately equal to 10 raised to the power 6 only. So Rp is equal to 10 raised. So the equivalent resistance Rp is approximately equal to 1 ohm. Okay, hence the equivalent resistance. Actually, it will be less than the least resistance, slightly less. Okay, but approximately it is coming equals to 1 ohm only. Question number 2 is an electric lamp of resistance 100 ohms. Okay, so let R1 is the resistance of the electric lamp. A toaster of resistance 50 ohms. Let the resistance of the toaster is 50 ohms. And a water filter, let it be R3, which is equal to 500 ohms, are connected in parallel. So here we have drawn the circuit diagram, all three connected in parallel. What is the resistance of electric iron connected to the same source that takes as much current as all the three appliances, and what is the current through it? So here first we'll find out the equivalent resistance, because after that we are going to connect, instead of these three, only one electric iron has to be connected. Okay, and the electric iron will withdraw the same amount of current. So if all three resistances are taking I current, the electric iron will also take the same current. So the resistance will be the same. Okay, so the resistance of the electric iron will be the same as the equivalent resistance of these three electrical appliances. Okay, and also we have to find out this current I. So let us find out the equivalent resistance. As you can see that all three are connected in parallel. The equivalent resistance is 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 by R3, that is 1 by 100 plus 1 by 50 plus 1 upon 500. So 1 upon Rp is equal to 500 is the LCM. So Rp is equal to 500 upon 16, which is equal to 31.25 ohms. So this is the equivalent resistance of these three appliances. So here we connect, in place of these three, now we connect an electric iron of the same resistance. Why? Because the current flowing is the same through the electric iron as through these three appliances. So the electric iron is connected, it will withdraw the same current. Now here you have to find out the current. I is equal to V upon the total resistance. V here is 220 volts upon the equivalent resistance is 31.25 ohms. So on simplifying, we get the current to be 7.04 amperes. Question number 3 is, what are the advantages of connecting electrical devices in parallel with the battery instead of connecting them in series? The first advantage in connecting the appliances in parallel is that each appliance is having a different resistance, so they require a different amount of current. Okay, and only in the parallel circuit the current may be divided in the branches, that is, the current will be flowing through these appliances according to their resistance. More the resistance, less current will flow through that appliance. Okay, so the advantage is that each appliance is having a different resistance, Okay, and they require different amount of current, which is only possible in the parallel circuit. And the second advantage is that if one of the electrical appliance fails to work, then the other appliances will keep on working. Okay, so the circuit will not be broken. If all of the electric appliances are connected in series, one of them fails, the other appliances will also fail to work. The other appliances will also not work. But in parallel combination, if one of the appliance fails to work, the other appliances keeps working. Okay, this we have discussed in the theory part also in detail. From there you can watch it. Okay, then question number 4 is, how can three resistances 2 ohm, 3 ohm and 6 ohm be connected to get the equivalent resistance to be 4 ohms? Okay, we know that in series combination, if we connect them, then the total resistance, equivalent resistance is greater than the greatest resistance. Okay, it will be greater than 6 ohms. In parallel combination, the equivalent resistance will be less than the least resistance. That is, it will be less than 2 ohms. But here, you have to get the equivalent resistance to be 4 ohms using these three resistances. How are they connected? Okay, let 2 ohm is connected in series to the parallel combination of 3 ohm and 6 ohms. Okay, 3 and 6 connected in parallel, and its equivalent is connected in series to 2 ohm resistance. Let's find out the equivalent. You will get it to be 4 ohms. Okay, so let the equivalent of 3 and 6 is R dash. So 1 upon R dash is equal to 1 upon 3 plus 1 by 6. So R dash is equal to 2 ohms. Okay, now let us redraw this figure. 2 ohm and R dash, which is also equal to 2 ohm. So this 2 ohm is connected in series to R dash, hence the equivalent resistance is equal to 4 ohm. Now in the B part, the equivalent resistance should be 1 ohm. Okay, 1 is less than the least resistance. So it means all these three will be connected in parallel. Let us find out. 1 upon equivalent resistance is equal to 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon 3 plus 1 by 6. 6 is the LCM. So R is equal to 6 upon 1 upon R is equal to 6 upon 6. So R is equal to 1 ohm. So it means all three resistors are connected in parallel. Okay, question number 5 is, what is the highest, and B part is the lowest resistance. First part is highest resistance. So out of these four resistances, how can you get the highest resistance? So we know that when we connect them in series, we get the greatest resistance or we get the highest resistance. So R1, R2, R3 and R4, all four are connected in series. Then we get the highest resistance, the greatest resistance. So what will be this? Equivalent resistance, the sum of all this, that is 4 plus 8 plus 12 plus 24, which is equal to 48 ohms. Okay, so the highest resistance out of these four resistances will get when they are connected in series. Now in the B part, it is asked that how can we get the lowest resistance out of these four resistances? We know that lowest, when do we get it? When all four are connected in parallel. So it means, so R1, R2, R3 and R4, all four are connected in parallel. Also, you have to find out the lowest resistance. So 1 upon the lowest resistance. This one is the highest resistance. Okay, this one is the lowest. So 1 upon R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 plus 1 by R4. Substituting 1 upon 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 12 plus 1 upon 24. So 1 upon the lowest resistance is equal to 12 upon 24, and hence the lowest resistance which we get it is equal to 24 upon 12. That is, it is equal to 2 ohms. So when we connect them in parallel, we get the lowest resistance, and that lowest resistance is equal to 2 ohms. Highest resistance when we connect them in series. Okay, and the highest resistance is equal to 48 ohms. Some in-text questions are still left, okay, based on heating effect of electric current. That we'll do it in the next part, that is in part number 6. And also we'll do the NCERT exercise questions which are behind the chapter. Okay, so in order to watch that, kindly subscribe to the channel and keep watching. Thank you.